Today's episode of The Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Netflix. Go to netflix.com/TRS for your free trial membership. Today, we go on a long journey to check out the film The Way Back.
Everybody, and welcome to the Totally Rad Show for the week starting January 24th. We have a big week, as always, which is amazing. Today we're going to be talking about the new Peter Weir movie out in limited release called The Way Back.
Yes, and then Tuesday we're going to talk about LittleBigPlanet 2, a big PS3 exclusive release.
Correct.
Video games.
Wednesday we get to loop back around with the new segment On My Radar, which we love doing. 2 weeks ago, I guess it was?
Something like that.
Pretty epic.
3 varied topics. Don't know what's on your guys' radar. Very excited to hear.
I'm excited.
On Thursday, we touch in on the new effects show, Lights Out, boxing show.
No, it's not heavy visual effects, it's the FX
Yes,
show.
that's right. And then on Friday, the returning game that we like to play with ourselves,
You make it sound so appealing.
Media Mashup.
Media Mashup.
And all week long, you heard me say we're going to talk about Little Big Planet this week. All week long, we have a Little Big Planet background sent in by Myrna from Vancouver, British Columbia. Thank you, Myrna, for sending that in. If you want to send your background in, send it to fans@totallyradshow.com.
Correct, Amundo. All right, let's get into it.
Today in movies, we're talking about The Way Back, which is based on a novel by the man who experienced it, a name which I would butcher, so I won't even attempt.
I'm sure he's happy for that.
The book is called
Why
The
didn't
Long...
you even try?
the book is called The Long Walk. It was a bestseller, huge sales, and they finally made it into a movie. The story is basically that of some escapees from a Russian gulag, played by Colin Ferrell and Jim Sturgis and Ed Harris and others, that attempt to walk 4,000 miles to freedom.
They kind of took the long way around.
It's you didn't say it's a true story.
I did, yes.
I don't think you did, but you may have.
Yes.
I may have missed it.
Yes.
And it didn't just attempt to walk as just like a decision that they made. It was a freaking, like, it just sounds like, oh, they attempted to make it. It was like, well, we'll set a little challenge for ourselves.
Right.
It was a freaking, how they escaped.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a story of how they
Yeah.
tried to escape. One may
Sorry.
say, attempted to escape.
Yeah.
I know, I was a little lighthearted in
It
my
just did sound lighthearted.
All right, but it comes from director Peter Weir, who I think has a fascinating career because he's made many award-nominated and winning films, almost all of his movies, and he hasn't made very many. But they all seem to be a really big deal in the decade or in the few years that they've come out, but we don't often talk about them since then. Like
Truman Show?
Truman Show is one of his more recent, most recently my favorite movie of all time, and I think Jeff's as well. I can't remember if you saw it, but Master and Commander, which was nominated for Academy Awards, and Witness and Dead Poet Society.
Wow.
So major, those movies, those last two, Witness and Dead Poet Society, like big deals. But we don't really talk about them too often anymore. Now,
Witness is Heather's favorite movie ever of all time.
Wow, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Oh, Captain, my Captain.
Dead Poet Society.
Boom. The in-between.
That was my favorite part in Witness.
Call back to a blooper they made. See you later. Anyway, so it's part prison escape, part survivalist tale. Jeff, what do you think of those kinds of films, and what do you think of The Way Back?
Well, those kinds of films being like road movies.
Yeah, lighthearted.
Movies.
Hangover. Surviving Arizona.
Survival. Well,
Cast Away, Lord of the Flies. Like,
Yeah.
it's in that genre, you know?
Sure,
Yeah.
and I think this is a great movie. I really enjoyed watching it. The performances across the board are solid and make you feel the weight of their journey, and they go through some serious stuff. In a lot of ways, I was thinking to myself humorously that this is sort of the real-life version of Fellowship of the Ring. You know, it's like They're going on a trip to Mordor, and this
Wait.
is like effed up.
What are you saying about Fellowship? That was based on a book.
A lighthearted
biopic.
Yeah.
Bio.
Oh, it's Russia, right? That's why we couldn't understand the elves?
This movie is really good, and especially because it's a true story, and it starts with that serious, sort of somber title card that really sets the tone of this really happened, people. So sit up straight and pay attention. Which I think it set the whole tone for the movie and made me really feel the weight of what happened and put myself in their shoes and imagine if I have survived that. It does feel like a movie that was adapted from a novel and they used movie things to make it work. I would not be surprised if the one female character that's in the movie isn't even in the book, because she's just a...
She is.
Well, but in the movie she's used as a device to deliver whatchamacallit? The word exposition. She's just an exposition machine that arrives and everybody tells their story to, and then she tells their story to other people. I don't know. It felt really contrived how she entered the movie, and that was the only downside. But I really liked the experience of seeing it. And I think it's a very powerful film that I would recommend wholeheartedly.
We should say too, about a minute of my research led me to believe that the truth in the story is a little bit questionable. Over the years, the guy who wrote the book there's been some outings of maybe not all of this is true. But
Turns out we took a plane.
It seems like at least quite a bit of it is true, but it's questionable.
The part where they pass
I think
up
when the
the
book
boat,
came out,
they didn't.
people...
No, I'm just kidding.
No, yeah. So, but anyway, we should mention that.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure we'll get emails.
I thought,
Alex.
Alex, it's okay. It's nice to meet you again. I mean, I enjoyed a good. There are things to enjoy about this movie, but inevitably I was quite bored throughout the majority of the movie. And I was trying to put my finger on why, and I can't quite say why. But unlike Jeff, most of the stuff didn't really land on me. You know what I mean? Like bad things happening. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Because it just seemed like there were these long periods of walking.
Yeah, if you love shots of people walking, this is a movie for you.
It's a great movie. It's almost a documentary on walking through places.
Two huge chunks of the famous scenes in Lawrence of Arabia are this entire movie.
Yeah, and so it just there was something about it. It was like, you know, was it pretty? Yeah. Was it shot well? Yeah. Was it acted well? I thought I thought the two standouts for me were Ed Harris and Colin Farrell. I was shocked.
Colin Farrell's great.
If you had only seen like one Colin Farrell movie,
and you
would
saw
not,
this,
and then you saw this, you wouldn't know who that. You wouldn't know it's the same person.
But also,
from his voice.
But
mainly,
also, if this was the only Colin Farrell movie that you ever saw, you would be at parties going, "Why does everybody hate Colin Farrell? He's like amazing." You know what I mean? So he was.
You mean
great.
that Russian actor with all those tats?
Yeah, exactly. So he was great. I mean, you know, but the main guy, I didn't really buy, kind of going in and out of the Russian accent. You know, Sharona or whatever her name is. Saoirse Ronan.
Mark Strong.
Mark Strong was great, but even then, I don't think he was. Probably the worst thing I've seen him do. Really? I mean, oh yeah, I was like, don't buy the Russian. You know, I bought him more as Middle Eastern than Russian. Anyway. The other thing is, I think the pace is sort of wrong, and it was wrong for me. I felt like we were in and out of that prison so fast.
They weren't at race pace.
That I was like, what? Because I thought it was going to be a prison breakout movie, but then all of a sudden it was like, oh, they broke out. Oh, they're running, and I was like, wait, what happened to all the build-up?
They said that in the beginning. They're like, the prison isn't the prison. The prison is Siberia.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of. It takes a long time to break out.
I get all that, but for me, it was just sort of like I was like, that pace felt wrong for me.
I feel very similarly to you, Alex, on the whole, and that I should have been very emotional watching this kind of movie. And it wasn't an emotional experience for me, and I was trying, and I felt just like, what is it? And in analyzing it, I have theories, though I don't know. But I think part of what may have bothered you is some of the joy of watching a movie like this is the process. I even related to watching a movie like Ocean's 11, where like, cool, we get to see how it goes down. And there are certainly chunks where we get to see process, and those were the most enjoyable parts for me. dealing with mosquitoes.
Yep.
I mean,
Fascinating.
survival process.
Finding
Survival
the
Not
process.
just
food.
breaking up, but survival.
Well, but that's one.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I meant surviving, but Ocean's 11 in a different way. But
like how do they find food?
A large
That was all very
portion, a large
interesting, yeah.
portion of it is more like just moments that happened on the journey, and we missed the connective tissue. So there wasn't this like escape from the prison was like a glimpse of the like in prison and they're out of prison. We didn't really see a lot of the connective tissue to get there and then to get there to get there. And it really actually picked up for me when Saoirse Ronan entered the picture. What I did find particularly striking was having a character leave the movie at a midpoint or early on, and there were a few characters that do this, and then by the end of the movie, I thought back on when they were remembering that character, I was like, oh yeah, and that, like just that structure put me in a place to feel what they felt in a way that I'd never have before in a survivalist tale. And I feel like the movie was much more out for the truth of the moment or the experience than creating a dramatic. I feel like it leaned a little too heavy on the overall hook, which is will they eventually get out?
But it couldn't have because the title card at the beginning says how many people got out and when they got out.
I kept on trying to remember what it said. I figured we'd have a little end coda, but we didn't.
Yeah, I just kept going like this.
I did think the
7.
end was a little odd.
But what I mean is there's not
actually the end was the one time in the whole movie that it like hit me. I was like, whoa, yeah. But for the whole movie, like when people are coming in and out of there, it's like.
But I guess I feel like there was that big like dilemma of will they get up, but there weren't enough suspenseful little dilemmas on the way to keep me along.
Water and food.
Right,
That's
those
a
are
small
part of
dilemma.
the big dilemma to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they weren't like suspense sequences, they just kind of showed me what happened.
Yeah.
I guess I liked it more than you guys did.
Yeah.
I was really all
I
in
did
that.
like it, but not to that
no,
degree.
no, yeah.
Yeah.
Fist it. So remember to stick around for this day in rad history. But first, Daniel Trachtenberg, our sponsor.
Daniel sponsored our show?
Yeah, he did.
Sweet.
Yeah.
On behalf of
Netflix. So Netflix is a way to rent movies and television shows online, either delivered directly to your door in one business day or streaming instantly into your PS3, your PC, your Mac, your Xbox, iPad, iPhone. I have been devouring on Netflix Instant the Larry Sanders Show.
Oh, it's great.
I was way too young to get it when it first aired,
good.
Yeah.
but thankfully the Netflix guys have deemed it instant.
Best theme song in the history of theme songs.
Oh, really? I don't like the theme song.
What?
But,
This is the theme to Gary Show, the opening
Nope.
theme. Oh, the Larry Sanders Show.
Yeah, not the
So,
Gary
and
Shandling.
I want to say, while it's an
starring
older
Gary
I love
show,
Larry Sanders Show.
yeah, while it's an older show, there's no age other than haircuts and old stars, which is kind of fun. But
good.
it's like it could be airing. I mean, basically, 30 Rock is doing it now,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
inspired Curb Your Enthusiasm and
Yeah.
improv shows. But it is a joy. Anyway, sorry, Larry Sanders Show. Netflix. So sign up at netflix.com/TRS for a free trial.
Bingo, bango. We will see you tomorrow.
Don't miss tomorrow's show when we take a look at Little Big Planet 2.
Today is January 24th, and on this day in rad history, in 1984, Apple Computer unveiled its Macintosh personal computer. And
That was
the
kind of a big
doors
deal.
were blown off of people all over the world. Although back then, it was very niche. It was like the artsy people would have them. My uncle had one, but we all had PCs.
We all know about your
I
uncle.
had one,
Yeah.
and I was so bummed that it was black and white.
Yeah.
But and also 2 days before this Super Bowl, Ridley Scott, one of the most famous commercials ever made, if not
Right.
the most famous commercial
Yeah,
ever
1984.
made, aired in the third quarter of Super
I would
Bowl
say
that year.
arguably the most famous commercial ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely up there.
For the Macintosh, that commercial.